Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. You're catching me on my YouTube channel, Bitchute channel, and my Facebook page at True Divine 44. You can get me at The True Divine on both Instagram and Twitter. Any likes, shares, subscribes, follows and tweets are greatly appreciated, believe you me, and much love to everybody who's doing that thus far. I'm coming in every day to bring the messages, relentless and never tired of doing so, to help guide your day, to help you make the most of your day, make the most and highest potentials of yourself throughout the day. Recognize the energies within yourself, within others, and indeed around you. Take what resonates, it is general, and leave what does not. Please leave a comment as to how the energies are affecting you, or how you are affecting the energies around you, hopefully by putting it out that higher consciousness, higher frequency energy to allow others to follow suit, to be an example in these tough days, in these enlightening days though. So we've got for the 17th, you all know, if you've been following me, that the number 17 has kept coming up over and over and over again. I know it's a certain letter in the alphabet. I'm going to speak about that in this reading. I know that it corresponds to some other things also. And so I just want you to be aware of this today. And the cards come up with it as to draw attention to being very discerning, being very aware. So on the bottom of the deck, we have got the Ace of Wands, and this is speaking of finding that new passion, finding new goals, finding new ways forward. This being very important for a lot of the people that I'll be speaking to, who will either know somebody who will resonate with this reading. Share it to them if you think it can get through to them, or it resonates on a certain level, because it covers a lot of things with yourself. And so there's this Nine of Wands. You'll know it's kept coming up. So this is discern, discern, discern again. Think again. Stop. Pause. It's been a long, hard, and deliberately manufactured to be a long and hard slog over 2020 and into 2021, and they're not going to make that disappear soon. So they've got people like the guy in this card here, battered, bruised, broken, tired, washed out. And so this is about taking that moment. It's the number 9, taking that moment to really look at things from a different perspective and be open to looking at things from a different perspective, more than anything. And so we've got the 7 of Cups to clarify this card. And so this speaks of there's so much to look at, to listen to be attached to, so much so that it means there's nothing actually getting achieved, there's nothing actually getting done. There's castles in the sky kind of thing, the far off dreams, projects that should be getting done that aren't getting done because you're distracted by everything that's going on around you, and even distracted by the different options of the jobs that you want to get done. And so this is speaking to also for the collective stage as a real pointer, a real message from spirit, message from the universe around you to say, don't get hung up with the psyop. There's so much of the psyop there. Let's think about the 17th letter in the alphabet. I mean, come on, it was always a psyop, it was always a game. I watched, light workers, I watched people who are very switched on in a lot of ways get enveloped by that, because it's putting out certain truths, but misleading greatly. And it was hinged on to yet another misleading character. I'm sorry, but yes, anybody within the system, the two-party system, wherever you are, whatever country you are in, it's corrupt. It's serving the one above them. Yes, there might be genuine rivals. Yes, there might be genuine enemies, but it's all a play, all of it. And until we see that, until we really release ourselves from the very systems that are so interlinked with organized religion, with the Catholic Church, with Christianity in general, with all of it, with the first letter of my name, infiltrating all of those things, making many of those things. It's a case of it. It's a real point from the universe, a real calling to say stop, because we will never be free of mass slavery. The reason that we've been distracted by these different, things getting thrown out there is the very reason. The complacency is the very reason that we are able to be cattled into this position that we're in right now in the first place. Full stop. There is no outside savior within these systems that were built for the few. There is no outside savior that can come into these systems. It is up to the collective to stop, discern, think again, and see that there was a time, just because history's been rewritten away from that, there was a time when natural law ruled, when you had to work with nature and nature worked with you or not, and it didn't. And that would be reflective in relationships also. You're working with each other's natures. When those two natures start clashing, it starts to be damaging to the fruits, to the young. There has to be a change there. It was very complex yet beautifully simplistic. Yet everything has been so overcomplicated within these two parties, and because it's all we've known for a pretty long time, that's how it's got to be. But we need these leaders, we need this, we need that. No, because they've never been serving the collective, they've only ever been serving the few. And before you smash the screens in anger with me, yes, they're going to have to throw some good things in there. The narcissistic relationship, they're going to have to love bomb every now and again. They're going to have to triangulate and create enemies of each side. They're going to have to move in different ways, in different communities and different groups, in order to triangulate. It's the narcissistic relationship. And so we've got the number 9, but in reverse with the Hermit card. There's enlightenment here. There's enlightenment, but it's always within self. And there's certain parts of self that still need to be looked at in so many of us, me included. It's a continuous journey, the Hermit, where there's still these certain attachments to hope outside of self, particularly within these systems, whether it be, the who's who, or whether it be the governments, whether it be this side or that side, whether it be red or blue, whether it be whatever it might be. But there's still certain hang-ups, there's still certain inner works that need to be done to release that full enlightenment and to release that bond to the misleading and dangerous psyop that, however it resonates with you outside of self. We've got the other 9 on the bottom of the other deck. Sorry, I didn't cover that. 9 of Wands again on the bottom of the other deck. And get this, the Ace of Staffs on this deck. So we've got this and on the bottom of the other deck, and this is reflective. There's this discernment that needs to happen before you can reach this renewal of passions, renewal of drive, of really going forward and changing things. There's death underneath this wand here on the bottom of the other deck, and this speaks to, there needs to be a transition here. there needs to be a leveling up here, and in spirituality, in leveling up and transitioning through your chakra system, through the knowing, through the inner standings. It's not going to be comfortable all of the time, because we refuse to look at certain hang-ups, we refuse to let certain things go. So it isn't going to be always a comfortable love and light process. It just isn't. We make it so that it's not, because we get hung up in these things, we get drawn into these things. And so we've got the Sun card to clarify. Hey, thank you, the Sun card, to clarify the Hermit. There is huge unlocking of the mass slavery that goes on. There is huge unlocking and enlightenment just from people taking the discernment and decision to go within and release themselves from the outside forces that would try and pull people and keep people within these systems. And you know, it does come to a point for those of you that know that you're here for a reason, where it is your journey, it is an individual journey, but the fruits are our children. And a lot of this system, a huge majority of all of these systems, serve to hurt children, one way or the other. And so this is where the amount of sunshine, the amount of enlightenment that could be released just by each and every one of us continuously, letting go of that we've been psyopsed into, which there's no shame, there's no judgment, it happens. Letting go of certain internal wounds and hang-ups that we have, the amount of enlightenment and that the amount of high frequency that we can then send throughout our electromagnetic being is enormous. And the amount of difference that we can make is huge. So we've got on the Sun card, it traditionally, you see there's like a child picture on the unicorn type horse. You know, this is like it's like a phoenix rising almost with the flame on the wings of the horse. In traditional decks, there's two children riding on the horse, and it's always jumping over a barrier. Now, in traditional decks, it's a wall, so that enlightenment allows you to break down certain walls that are hinging you in, that are limiting you in your thought systems, in your spirituality, in your physicality, all of those things and above and more. In this card, it's the sunflowers. And so the sunflowers are a symbol of peace, that this enlightenment brings more peace. So though it might not be too much of a comfortable journey or too much of a comfortable acceptance to do this hermit, to turn this hermit in the right way up, it actually brings peace to your heart. It actually brings peace to others around you through the influence of your energy field being enlightened, being of the sun. Standing in your divinity and sovereignty. We can't talk about divinity and sovereignty and then still talk about fighting on behalf of one side or the other in this political game. It's impossible. It doesn't work like that. So we've got the Five of Pentacles in the next card. You can see here the golden pentacles in the window. They're sort of locked into the building, and these two characters looking very poor, are out in the cold. You know, they're hobbling along out in the cold. They've been exiled from this church, from this place of so-called sanctuary. And this is where, for a lot of you, it can feel uncomfortable to be letting go and having that enlightenment about letting go of things that not only for yourself for a lifetime have been following, but also the indoctrination of parents regarding the voting system, the political system, the religious systems, and the attendance of religious systems, and the rules and guilt that go with all of it. It can be uncomfortable. It can mean that you change your friendship circles. It can mean that, you know, you feel left out in the cold for a little while. It can be of disappointment, but you are in a far stronger position, far quicker, leaving this psyop. This is the matrix. These systems build up the matrix in our mind, and then we manifest the reality. Nature is nature. This realm is beautiful. This realm is bountiful, abundant, and keeps going. And we are literally like sitting on top of it because of this mind psyop that we're in, continuously just like hovering above it, but never actually being able to feel comfortable here, to feel like we can really follow our own path here, and that it's not going to be of detriment to another country because the leaders of your country want to go bomb or whatever it is. It's like we're like on the periphery, on the not on quite on the surface. Because why? We're not following a law that makes sense. We're not following nature's law, natural law. We're not doing that. We're following all of these different laws. Why do you feel like you've been pulling your hair out all last year and all this year, saying that doesn't make any sense? It doesn't make any sense to do this. It's like, trying to stop a mosquito getting through a barn door. That does not make any sense. Those rules don't make any sense, Boris. To close at a certain time, but allow to be open at other times, to allow big groups to be in big corporate shops, but then not allow small groups to be in small shops. To allow people to shop all day in big corporate shops, but then not go and eat with their family at the end of the day that they've eaten with, on a weekly basis for their whole life. That it does not make any sense. So it can't be rooted in sense. It can't be rooted in what does make sense, natural law. But this is where we stay as a collective in a great deal, because we're in this mind bubble, this mind psyop that doesn't let us. And even when we have like a few of our tentacles, a few of our roots planted in natural law, we've got these ones here still clinging on to the systems that have never worked for the collective. But it's okay, because it's okay when it doesn't affect us. Here's these leaders in the UK, and I'm listening to people backing them and saying, well done, Boris, well done, following their rules and stuff like that, and follow the rules. Then you hear the very same people when the next slot of draconian rules come out, but this next slot of draconian rules affects them. All of a sudden that's wrong. And it's been the same way the whole time when we have been bombing other countries, not for any other reason but absolute false lies, and putting other people in such poverty, putting other people at such risk. Why? Because they lied about it, and they wanted something, but they give us some kind of falsehood of some kind of, it's an honorable thing to do. We need to go and liberate these people. Liberate them from what? Liberate them from their own making? Liberate them from that to sink them even lower? Because you want something. But okay, those people will go along with that and they'll clap to that because it doesn't affect them. They're not seeing the travesty of it. They're not seeing the blood on the streets from it. They're not seeing any of that. So it doesn't affect them. This is where, as real light workers, as real spiritual people, as really spiritually highly conscious people, we cannot say that we are doing enough and still be in any which way supporting these systems that have been built up around us. And nobody's going to say that it was easy, but everybody, will type, warrior this, warrior that, me included, because I feel that way. But they'll type that and they'll, and I'm not picking on anybody in general, this is what I've been observing. And they'll say they're ready, but they're ready of the backing of a leader saying so, of when it affects us enough. We can't say that we're here for a reason, and that reason, and I feel it, I know many of us are, and that reason being to stop children being hurt, to stop our fruits being hurt, to stop this realm, this nature being hurt. And then say that we're still going to be any part in any which way a part of any of the systems that has done nothing but abuse all of those things I've mentioned and above. Or that we get, partial, is it partiality, where we have this, well, yeah, but they did this good thing. So it's okay that they've monetarily backed, or they're monetarily backed by, the very people that are at the root of most of this matrix system that's been built up in our minds and manifested through our consciousness. So that's all okay, I suppose. So when are we going to get to the point as warriors to say, you know what, actually, yeah, it might be a bit of a bumpy ride, because now you've got people in such low consciousness that they can't be divine and sovereign. And yes, they're going to make some really nasty decisions, but, are we going to be, where are the police going to be to protect us? Well, look around. They're not around. You don't hear on mainstream media about the Spanish police, a huge sect of them actually breaking away from the police force because they've been seeing the brutality and seeing the draconian rules that do not make any sense, and they have become a policia for the people. You don't hear that on mainstream. Why? Because they don't want you to hear that. Anything else that they want you to hear, like the 17th letter, or you hear plenty of that. And now they're going to try and block it and say it's blocked, to try and make a statement to say that it's the wrong narrative, but they've been allowing it. They've been allowing it for 4 or 5 years. Discernment. We need discernment. So, sorry, that's a rant. But we are getting to a point where we're so distracted by this stupidity that all of the main issues regarding children, all but forgotten. All of the main issues of the system's part in children, all but forgotten. We need to get to a point where we say, okay, yes, we're going to have a bumpy ride ahead, but we want the truth. Tell us exactly, lay it out, give us every single tape of you planning to go to war, what you said and why. Give us every single tape of you planning certain things. Imperial College of London, release all of your transcripts, all of your taped meetings regarding every pandemic that you have predicted so wrongly, and then being paid millions for that prediction. Release all of that, and then we can decide really whether we should be going to any wars, whether we should be shutting down any businesses, whether, even AI, yet again, they hijack that. AI, some of the things that AI could do for people medically, fantastic, fantastic. Yet we allow them to hijack it. We allow a very few, and these systems, these political systems, harness and allow these very few people to be in control of land breaking, mind breaking, whatever breaking, I can't think of the words, things that could really help people. Treating certain things that have ailed us for a long time. My middle name, Catherine, spelt with a C, things like that, with light, with frequency. Allowing me to have the capacity to say I could actually really help people like that with my middle name spelt with a C, with frequency. But yet again, they hijack that and allow a very few people to be in control of it, which actually turns it into nothing more than a weapon. And actually, in my mind, introduces beings that know far better how to use and process things through AI, through transplanting certain consciousnesses. I'll not go into that. But you know, when do we get to this point of true discernment, of true divinity and sovereignty? And when do we start talking honestly to each other about it? When do we start seeing that and being okay with saying, I'm okay if I get swept up in something and I make a mistake? I made a mistake. I know better now. You know, it's not too hard. So, yeah. So there's a feeling of feeling left out in the cold for many sections of the communities right now. There's this feeling of being left out in the cold for the people who are fast asleep. You know, certain decisions that governments are going to make today, you know, that they're probably going to bring out on Monday. You know, certain things, they've been making lots of decisions on the weekends and then hitting them on the Monday, or then hitting them on the Friday and going into the weekend, where people are distracted. You know, they're not in a daily routine, getting up, watching the news in the morning. So there's certain things, you know, that will actually even make them feel left out in the cold. Maybe it'll give them a wake up as to what the government is doing to them. So there's certain things regarding people in the spiritual community, you know, the rant I've just had, people who want to be honest, people who want to still push narratives. You know, maybe if I'd pushed a certain side and pushed the hope, pushed Q, maybe it'd be bigger subscriber numbers, but I'm not. It's not right. It's not right to do that. It's not right to be that. Families. Some of you who have felt left out in the cold for a long time, and this is the good news, and I'm sorry I'll stop ranting, but I'm sorry and I'm not sorry, really. This is the good news, that a lot of you that have been feeling left out in the cold for a long time, trying to open people's minds, trying to show them the proofs, the celebration, and this keeps coming up, and this is beautiful, especially with this Sun card, that there is enlightenment, and there is going to be frustrations, and there is going to be hiccups, but you know, there is, with each passing day, there is enlightenment of people coming around and certain celebrations. If you've been left out in the cold for a long time by your family, you can expect for a lot of you, not all, but a lot of you, to be welcomed back, to maybe get an apology. Don't demand that apology, you know, that never goes down well, people's egos and whatnot. But you know, to be welcomed back. Why? Because they've opened their eyes a little bit, they've been a bit discerning, they've seen a bit more later down the line, and they've been affected by it. So either way, it's good, because you're being welcomed back into that fold, and you can maybe have a real impact now, because they've had time to open up for themselves. Regarding the Sun, let's see what else the Sun has got to say regarding the Sun, the major arcana, the Sun. Bear in mind also, there's 3 9s here, the 9 of Wands, the 9 in the Hermit card, and the 9 of Wands again on the bottom of the other deck. That would make 999. 999 is the emergency number in the UK. Might just be something to look out for. Maybe something going on. Six of Cups to clarify the Sun card and the Hermit card more. So we've got this need to look within a little bit deeper and to be open-minded enough to let go of certain things. We've got then the Six of Cups, which would speak to the past, the nostalgia. You know, we are sold country to country on our flags, on our prosperity, what's great about our country, all of this. And this is connected a lot emotionally to the way that, you know, certain marches were taken with certain grandparents, or, you know, that there was certain emotional connections to whatever it is that is stopping you from letting go of certain things and being distracted by certain things. There's certain things that you can actually use to heal generational wounds here because of this Six of Cups, certain connections that are still there that will help not just heal you and open you up, but heal others. And that doesn't matter whether they're still here, but even if they've transitioned on, that reaches, you know, that DNA strand, it reaches through all the different dimensions. The Judgment card on the bottom of the deck, you know, letting go. What do we need to shed? What do we need to let go of? You know, what have we grown away from? What do we need to take forward with us? What do we need to leave behind? The Trumpet call, being called to your path. The Judgment card has come up so much, and it is about transcendence. It is about moving upwards and outwards. It's about your spiritual leveling up, manifesting in this physical journey, on this physical plane. So by doing this Hermit card, having that true enlightenment and releasing certain things from the past, or understanding certain situations from the past with a different perspective, is very, very powerful to combine with the Judgment card as to how you go forward, how you level up from here. So I hope you enjoyed that reading, and I hope that reading helps you, and like I do every other reading. And I hope it gives you the possibility to reach the highest potentials of your day to day. You know, I think it's time, you know, where there does need to be a bit of raw honesty, and I can rant, I can get very honest. And so I suppose that's that. But if you'd like a personal reading with me, if you'd like any energy work with me, or if you would like any spiritual coaching sessions with me, you can hook up with me at truedivinemedia@gmail.com, or you can shoot me a private message on Facebook at truedivine44. I'm trying to get back on Facebook a little bit more. I did need to take a while off there. You know, energy there was no good. I only go where I can do good. So I'm posting back up there, and I'm not spending any time in there, but I will get a notification if you drop me a message. I love you all. Much balance, much love, much wholeness. I appreciate you all listening. Please share, like, and subscribe if you haven't already on your way out. I do appreciate it very, very much. Mwah. Much love.